This is Carl at National RV Detroit, and I'm going to walk you through your 2021 Flagstaff E-Pro model 15TB. I'm on the door side of the trailer, moving towards the rear. So you have storage here, and inside is a wheel, your spatula, things like that. You have your griddle there. Now your griddle will hang right on this rail right here, and you have an LP hose with it that will plug into this quick connect down here. See with the yellow cap? That's how you get gas to your griddle. Okay, you've got scissor type stabilizers. Use a 3/4 inch crank, which comes with it, or a 3/4 inch socket on a drill is what most people use these days. You got a power awning with an LED strip, outside speaker, power. Of course, your stairs fold into the trailer, and if you need to adjust the length of the legs for the terrain, you can see there's a pin right here. This pin pulls completely out, right? So you can pull it completely out and adjust the legs. Of course, you can do it on both sides and get it the length you need it. Get them the length you need them. Also, this right here is a hookup for a solar battery charger. If you wanted to put a solar battery charger just for the battery, you can plug it in right there. You obviously have solar panels on the roof with a power inverter, so this has a lot of features. This is your power tongue jack, of course. If it ever fails, you can pull this plug right here, pull this piece out, and you can use the same crank you use for the stabilizers to actually crank this manually by hooking up to the 6.75 inch hex head in there. Okay. Now your bicycles, it's shipped this way. You're going to carry two bikes, one on each side, so you'll have to reverse half of these this way and half of them that way, going the other way, so you can hang a bike on each side of the rack. Okay, but it's a great system. It's the best place to put the weight, so it works out really well. You have two LP tanks with an automatic changeover regulator. The regulator draws the LP tank on the door side down first, then it'll do the off door side tank back and forth, so keep in mind it's automatic. Also, you have a battery kill switch right here. You'll shut the battery off when you put it in storage for any period of time. Otherwise, you would leave it on. You got two deep cycle marine batteries wired to 12 volt. That's mainly because you have a solar panel. You need to store energy, plus you need to invert power, which is converting 12 volt DC up over to 110 AC. So keep that in mind. This also has a power converter on it, which converts 110 AC down over to 12 volt DC. So it goes both ways in that sense. All right. These are your dump valves here. Obviously, this is the black dump valve here. That's closed. This is the gray. The black is toilet water and waste. The gray is sink and shower water. So when you hook your hose onto here, put it in the dump station, you're going to dump the black first, right? You do that because it's dirtier water than the gray water. You'll dump the gray second, just to wash things out with the sink and shower water, which is obviously cleaner than the black tank water, so that makes perfect sense. Okay. You have a tube there to store your hose for your dump hose right in there. You can see that. All right. That's just an outside shower, hot and cold water. This is your power cord, 30 feet long and 30 amps. All right. The most common way to get water to your trailer is through the city water hookup. So you'll just, as long as you've got city water on the campsite, you're just going to put the hose on here, turn it on, and everything's ready to go. Now, if you go to a campsite that does not have plumbing on the campsites, or campground that does not have plumbing on the campsites, you can fill your onboard water tank right here, and then use the water pump, and pump it from the tank. So your trailer will operate just like it has city water, but you're drawing it from your onboard tank. Now this hookup here is for winterizing the trailer. It's something you have to educate yourself on more if you're going to do it yourself. But basically, a hose, you'll put a hose on here. The other end goes into a gallon of antifreeze, and there's a selector valve underneath the bench on the off door side. I'll show you that when we get inside. You can select to draw through this port here. Basically, the water pump normally will draw from the freshwater tank, but when you're winterizing, you could switch that valve so it actually draws through here, and it'll pull antifreeze into the system. Okay. Your water heater has the switches to operate are inside, except it has a second electric switch right here. This one right here in the lower left-hand corner, it's off right now, but you need to turn that on. It operates, it's a master switch for this. There's a heating element behind this, electric heating element behind this cover here, and that's what the switch is for. So you're going to have to flip that on before you use it on electric, and then flip the switch inside also. Never use this dry. You always got to be water in it before you turn on any energy source. Make sure there's water in it. This is your drain plug here. It also has an anode rod attached to it. Now, this takes an 1 1/16" 6-point socket, just so you know. And this is your pressure release valve. You never release the pressure or take the drain valve out, the drain plug out if you have hot water in the tank. You always let it cool down first. You don't want to scald yourself or worse, so you always make sure you don't do anything to it unless the water's cooled down. All right. So this is your ladder. If you use the ladder, basically you have to inspect your roof, and that's important. So when you own a trailer, you should inspect it every 90 days. So you figure in the spring, in the middle of the summer, and in the fall, you're going to go up on the roof, look at all the sealant, make sure there's no separation or cracking starting anywhere. Some years, sometime when you go up there, there's going to be some cracking or separation, and usually at a corner area, but not always. So you have to inspect the whole thing. Basically, when you see some separation starting, because it happens to every trailer, that's not just this trailer, every trailer has to be inspected. So make sure you do that and keep after it, so you always have it nice and tight and dry inside. Also, any place you see caulk on the sides from the factory, you also will inspect. You never use caulk from a hardware store. No, don't use silicone from a hardware store. It's gotta be the correct stuff at an RV place, and they'll be able to tell you what you need. This is clear Proflex here, and on the roof it's something called Dicor, a lap sealant. So keep in mind you have to use the correct stuff. All right, let's go inside. Okay, so this is your control panel here. You can see, hopefully you can see that lights up. All the lights light up. That's the battery, or batteries in this case. Keep in mind we're plugged in. You always want to check when you're not plugged in. Your fresh water tank has got 1/3 in it right now. We still need to dump it. We're still prepping it. So you can see it graduates up in 1/3 increments as it fills. Black is empty and the gray is empty. Once you get past 2/3, you're going to have to start thinking about dumping your black and gray. Okay. Let's see here. Alrighty. So this is the water pump I told you about. You just turn it on like that if you're drawing water out of the tank or winterizing. Your water heater on gas here, to light it on electric here. Remember I told you there's a second electric switch on the outside of the water heater. Never run it unless you have water in it. Always make sure you have water in it. Okay. Alright, so this is your awning switch here, so it's pretty straightforward. You have the door, excuse me, watch my camera work. Always the door should be sticking out at a 90-degree angle, or close to it. And then you're just going to extend your awning this way, back this way. It goes out 8 feet. You'll see the awning tube when you get it all the way out, so you know you've extended all the way. Never leave it out unattended. If you're not going to be at the campsite, then you roll it in. Otherwise the wind and weather can damage it very quickly. This is the Wi-Fi Ranger, okay? If you look at this sticker, when you'll take your phone, let's say, or your tablet, your phone, and you'll look for Sky4 LTE 8404, it looks like. My eyesight's not that good. That's you. So you'll see that, and that's what you're going to hook up to, right, with your phone or your tablets. So you put that into all of your family's devices, so it'll automatically hook up to this. Then you can see there's a temporary password. Change me now 6404, and there's an IP address on the bottom line here. Just trust me, it's there if you can't see it. So you go to the IP address and you'll be able to see what the Wi-Fi Ranger sees, right? And let's say you're using free campground Wi-Fi. You'll pick out the campground Wi-Fi if they gave you a password for it, like some do. You put in the password and you connect that way. So you're always going to connect up to this with your devices automatically. Then you'll just use the Wi-Fi Ranger to connect to the outside Wi-Fi sources. It's a super good signal booster, which is the most important and the best feature about it. It's a really good signal booster. Plus, it has a built-in firewall. and so it's really a good thing. You'll get really good public Wi-Fi using it. Make sure you change your password and that sort of thing, but it's pretty straightforward. When you turn it on, it takes a minute or two to warm up, so right now it's on. Now it's on your roof, right? You'll see two little rubber antennas sticking up. That's that's the Wi-Fi Ranger. Keep in mind there's a second function if you wanted to have cellular service to it. You can get a SIM card for it, but you'd have to pay through your carrier, whoever your phone's through. You'd have to pay a fee, obviously, just like anything else. But most people don't use that unless they do business from their trailer and they need that kind of connectivity. Generally speaking, they're just going to use the free Wi-Fi booster. So that's your Wi-Fi Ranger. As I show you all these things, keep in mind that there's in your brown packet that comes with the trailer, there's going to be a manual for every appliance in here and many of the components. But you can also go online and search it, or go to their websites and search it. There's all kinds of videos and more information for everything, so you can find out as much as you want to know. While I'm standing here, this is your this is a power vent, obviously a fan, and the vent has a cover over it, so you can open it during the rain. It's a good thing. You can turn it on here. It's got 4 speeds. I'm sorry I didn't show you it right here. And you just keep hitting it to rev it up here. You can go up to 4, which is really cranking. And back down to 1. Okay. Keep in mind, you can pull humidity out. If it's the type of weather where you're getting condensation from your breath, you can run that on low and you'll have no problem in here. When you run the shower, you always want to run this so you can pull the humidity out, because these trailers are built super tight now, especially these E-Pros. They're very efficient trailers, so you always want to vent, okay? All right, as I get back over to here, your TV works like any other TV, except there's a DVD player built onto it. Hopefully you can see that. This right here is the signal booster for your digital antenna. You can't see it that well, but there's a little button on it. You can turn it on and off. When it's on, there's a green LED. You want to always have that green LED on, or else you won't get a good picture using the antenna. This is actually the antenna right here. It does not go up and down like they used to. It just rotates, so you can tune it in. Okay, and this locks into place also. Your radio, you can stream off this USB, so you can put all your favorite albums onto one USB, mini USB, and take it with you. I don't know if it's called a mini, but the short one. I'm sure you know more about it than I do. So anyway, a USB drive, and you can take all your albums with you, and you can hook up with Bluetooth from your phone or tablet and stream that way. You got 2 speaker zones, zone 1 and 2. 1 is inside the trailer, 2 is outside the trailer. This HDMI is an in, so if you wanted to use have those little game machines, for example, to keep kids busy on a rainy day or weekend, you could set it right down here, plug it in right here, and put it through the system here, and it'll show up on your TV. So there's a lot you can do with it, considering you're camping. So that's your sound and your TV set. So let me see what else we've got here. Your air conditioner obviously has the controls right on it. Your furnace controls are right here. It's just analog on. And then when you shut it off, you want it to click like that to the left. And as soon as you click it, this is your furnace down there. The flame's going to go out, but it'll still cycle like any other furnace for another minute or 2. So you got to expect that, okay? Now I told you that underneath this seat here, let's see where we are here. Let me back up. I keep forgetting how close I am with this camera. All right. Right before I show you that stuff, this device here is the power converter. So a converter converts 110 AC to 12 volt DC. So on this side we've got regular household current, regular household type circuit breakers, 110 AC, and they're all labeled. Then the power is converted to 12 volt DC on this side. You can see you got 12 volt fuses, and they're labeled down here. Okay, so if any of these fuses were to blow, for example, they'll actually light up, and you can see them through this perforation here. Let me see if I can get a picture of it. Okay, and also when you're plugged in to shore power, this will keep your batteries charged. So it sends 12 volts to your batteries, and it's also semi-smart in the sense that it'll sense how much energy your batteries have. If they're really low, it'll send 10 amps or whatever it needs. if they're charged, it'll just trickle a couple amps up there to maintain them. So it's semi-smart in that sense. It's not just a simple battery charger. So this is the converter, right? So that converts 110 AC over to 12 volt DC. Then on this trailer you have an inverter right here. So this does the opposite. It inverts power. It takes 12 volt DC from your batteries, which are being charged by the sun, as you know, or the batteries are being charged by the sun and by your power converter, just so you know. But mainly we're talking about stored energy here and energy coming from the sun. This plug right here is the only plug in the trailer, as far as I know. Things change with these models, but as far as I know, that you can plug in and get AC power out of it. Okay, so to turn it on, you're just going to go like that. You can hear it powering up there if you're in here. I don't know if you can hear it on the tape, but that's right now you're inverting power from your batteries and taking it from 12 volt DC, turning it into 110 AC. Okay, now let me shut that off. Hold it for 1 second. There we go. Now if you come over to here, it's kind of tough because I should have closed this down first. This is your solar station. I'll show you that in a minute just because it'll be easier. I just want to show you that this is your water heater, the back of your water heater, right? Now you can't see it very well, but I'm going to bring the camera down so we can get a different view of it. Right here are valves, right? Let me see if you can see that. Where am I at here? Okay, right there, I'm sorry. Valve there, and there's another one on the blue line. So whichever line this valve handle is parallel with is the one that's open. So right now it's in normal camping mode. Blue water, cold water goes into the water heater, heats up and comes out hot. Before you pump any antifreeze into the system, when you're winterizing it, you have to bypass it by changing the position of these two valves. You turn the handle so they're parallel with this loop here, this bypass line. You can see going from line to line, it loops right around. Therefore, when you pump antifreeze in, it does not go into the water heater, because you can't get antifreeze into the water heater. It'll leave a really foul taste and a bad smell that will not go away. So before you put any antifreeze into the system, you always bypass it. Right now it's in camping mode, so you'd reverse those two valves before you pump any antifreeze in. Now I mentioned on the outside of the trailer, when I was on the outside of the trailer, that there's a valve you can turn. If you look here, this line right here, this one here, is the one that I told you was for drawing antifreeze in. This is the back of it. You see it comes down and there's a valve right here, right? So right now, let me see what we've got here. This is very difficult to do this and let me get the camera on so you can see it here. I just want to explain this as best I can. But right now this line here goes down to the fresh water tank. So you can see the handle here on the valve is parallel with this line. So right now if I turn down the water pump, which is right here by the way, if I turn down the water pump, it would pull water from the fresh water tank. When I'm winterizing, I would change the position of this handle. I would go, let me see, it goes this way. I would turn it like this, if you can see it now, so it's parallel with this line, and that would draw through that port. That's why you can make up a hose, screw it on the other end, put screw it on the fitting, put the other end into a gallon of antifreeze, and now it would draw antifreeze into the system through this line right here, okay? I'm going to put it back into camping mode. So keep that in mind. You're going to have to educate yourself a bit more on it, but keep in mind. Now this is a water filter canister here. You get a filter with this and a wrench that fits up over this canister. You just spin it off like any other water filter canister. Right now there's no filter in it, although there is a filter in the trailer that comes with it. Some people use it, some people don't. It depends on, people don't drink the water anymore, so a lot of people won't bother, but you can use it. It's just a carbon block filter, so it's good for sediment and for removing chlorine and the chlorine smells and tastes, things like that. It will not do total dissolved solids or anything like that. It's not reverse osmosis. It's just a carbon block, which is still a really good filter. It just cleans up the water basically and makes it smell better too and taste better. Like I said, most people don't drink it anymore. They use bottled water, but the bottom line is if you do use a filter, you have to change it every year. So when you winterize it in the fall, before you winterize, you would throw the filter out and screw the canister back on, obviously. And then after winterizing, or de-winterizing I should say, in the spring, you'd put a filter in there for the season. So you do it every year, okay? Alright, so let me look around, make sure I got everything that I wanted to tell you about. I think I have. So that's just a better, you know, you'll have to educate yourself some more, but that gives you a general idea how everything works, okay? The key words are bypassing the water heater and selecting, are the key terms, and selecting the source for this port here, whether you want to draw antifreeze in or you want to draw from the fresh water tank, okay? Alright. I guess that's good. Hopefully that's good for you. So I'm just going to put this down for now so I can get over here and show you the solar station. Okay, so here we are here. Let me get over to here. Oh, there we go. Okay, so I just want you to be able to see this. So you light it up there. Right now, you're drawing let me see here, 2.3, oh that's 2.3 amp hours. Let me go one more here. There we go. Right now we're getting zero amps from the sun because we're in the shade basically. As you get more sun, you can see the picture of the sun here. It's got an arrow pointing towards a solar panel. It's telling you how many amps you're getting from the sun and storing into your battery, right? You push it this way, your battery is 100% charged. You go a little farther, you got 2.3 or 23 amp hours, excuse me. You got 13.6 volts, which is totally charged. Okay, you just use the B button to do all this. You only use the A button in a system where you have the batteries separated. Right now they're basically wired together at 12 volts, so you double the storage capacity. So you're just gonna be able to tell the batteries are read as one, not two separate batteries, the way it is right now. You can also change this by holding this. Right now it says AGM, which is a gel battery, which we don't have in here. So you have to select. Right, see how it's flashing now? Let me see if I got this right. Alright, so we're going to call it flooded because it's a semi-sealed battery, so we'll just go with flooded. Okay? And now that's correct. The only reason I did that, when you set it up, you're supposed to do that. So now you know that it's a flooded battery. You have to. It does not sense that itself. You have to tell it what kind of battery you have, and that's how you do it. You just hold the B, depress the button till you hear that beep, and then it'll start flashing. Then you go through the different options till you pick out which one you want. Okay. All right. Hopefully that made sense to you. I'm no school teacher, but I do my best. Okay. There we go. Okay. So now to the refrigerator. The refrigerator does not have a compressor. It's a gas absorption refrigerator. That means it'll run on 110 AC or 12 volt, or excuse me, or LP gas. So the first thing you do is you turn it on right there, right? Then you select your source. You want to go to auto. Auto means electric. The reason they call it auto is because it automatically searches for electricity, 110 AC all the time. If it can't find it, it'll switch over to gas automatically. So the reason they call it auto, obviously because it automatically switches over, but the really neat part of the system is that you're running on electricity. Let's say you're at a campground, you got all your food in here, and you go out exploring for the whole day. A few hours after you're gone, the campground has a power failure, so the power goes off. So this will sense it, and it'll automatically switch over to gas, so you don't spoil the food. It'll light it on gas, and it'll stay cool. So that's where you want it. Now you can also dedicate it to gas by going like that. So when you're pulling it down the road, you can run it on gas. But it'll still, if there's no electricity, it'll still switch over. So just keep in mind that auto is generally where you're going to want to be with this. Okay. And also, let me see if I can get this open here. Hold on, let me switch hands. Wait a minute. I better use the right button here. It's right here. There we go. Okay. So the other thing to know is this thing here is a thermistor. That's what it's called. You see there's a wire here, and it goes up into this clip. This is just a clip. It's not fastened, it's just clipped on there. Inside the clip is the thermistor. The thermistor is actually a cylinder that's on the end of this wire here. Okay? It's in the clip, and the clip holds it to the fin. The higher you go with this, the higher you stretch it up till this is taut, the cooler it is in the refrigerator. The lower you go with it down, the warmer it gets. So generally speaking, with this type of refrigerator, you want it up as high as you can get it. So keep in mind, now if you go too high and the thermistor pops out of the clip, you just pull it off, put it back in there and put it back on the fin. It happens all the time to people, so it's no big deal, that's normal. It's just part of the way it's designed. It hasn't changed in a zillion years. And so that's called a thermistor, and you want it all the way up to cool it, to have your refrigerator as cool as possible. Now if you're out in cold weather, you might have to back it down if it starts frosting up, but generally speaking, you're going to have it up all the way. Okay, yeah, so that covers that. So this is a gas absorption refrigerator. That's why you can run it on LP gas and make it cool down. It has a whole different type of cooling cycle that uses ammonia and some other chemicals, and it's been around for a long time. They've used it on ships, and even I think even Skylab, the first space stations had gas absorption, if I remember correctly. So it's used. Ships, airplanes used to use it. So it's been around a long time. Okay, the microwave looks like any other microwave, except it's a convection. Okay, you're just going to turn it on and light it with a lighter. Very simple. All right. Alrighty. Okay, so the only real thing to know here is, of course, you have an exhaust fan. Always run the fan with the shower. The thing to know, first of all, where's the switch? That's a good thing to know. Okay, the toilet, you can't run it dry. So this is how you flush it right here. Right. So and the black tank is directly down there. That's the black tank below us. So when you plug in your trailer, hook up the water, your black tank is empty. You'll come in here, you'll put chemical in, 1 dose of whatever chemical you use, just read the directions, and 1 dose goes in there. Then you'll flush it, because we're hooked up to water, water will swirl out like it was. That was just residual pressure. Water will come swirling out like this, and we're going to put about a gallon or so of water in the tank. There's no way to tell exactly how long to hold it. Just use common sense. You got to have some water in there, a little bit of water and chemical to start using it. You never use it dry, or you'll regret it. The smell will be terrible, and it can get really hard, and you have to throw dynamite. Well, no, you don't use dynamite, but you have to chisel it out. So always have some water in it and chemical. Let's just say you're staying at the campground for another week, a second week, but you had to dump the black tank because it was full. So because you dumped the black tank, you'd come back in, put the chemical in there, flush it and hold it, and let a gallon or so of water swirl in there, and you're ready to use it till you dump the tank again. That's important. If you don't, you'll only do it once. You'll only forget to do it once, so that's a good thing. Now this device here is a water. It basically cycles water. It's to conserve water and to conserve space in your gray tank. So let me see if I can bend over here. This is normal position right here with this. Okay. Okay, so you'll to cycle the water through, basically recirculate the water, I should say. You're waiting for hot water to build up into hot water. So normally it would just run down the drain, and you'd waste water that's coming into the system, right? So if you put it on the circulator, it'll just cycle the water around and around, circulate it around and around again, and until it heats up. And when it heats up, this will change to more vivid kind of blue color. You'll be able to tell immediately. That's telling you that the water's hot. Then you'll switch the position of it to normal position and use the shower. It's called a water miser, and like I said, a great way to learn things is through manufacturers' videos, so you can always search it out on YouTube and look at their videos. But what you're doing is you're not just letting water go down the drain, filling up your gray tank, wasting water while you're waiting for it to get hot, and you're not wasting fresh water when you're waiting for it to get hot. So it just circulates around and around and around until it gets hot. Okay, hopefully that makes sense to you. But it's very simple. Like I said, always refer to manufacturer videos if you can, but it's a good thing to have, especially these days. Everybody wants to be more efficient and responsible, so that's one way to do it. Okay, so let me look around, see if I forgot anything. I think I've covered just about everything here. Yes. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna end this now. First, I want to thank you for purchasing your trailer here at National RV Detroit, and we'll work with you all the time. We're very busy. The RV industry is very busy, so I know getting service appointments is a real frustrating thing because there's so much, there's such a backlog, especially with the virus. But we will work with you and take care of it. And always remember to inspect your roof every 90 days or 3 times a season. That's important. Also inspect the seals on the side that you see manufacturers caulk on. And always bypass your water heater before you winterize. So, okay? All right, well, thank you very much, and have a lot of fun with it. Thank you.